Wow, I
I
am
really
so
want to.
excited. I'm so excited.
What if the biggest part of Paralympic sport is the part you never see?
Hi, I'm Grace Snooper.
And I'm Olivia Chambers.
We're Paralympic swimmers, but this isn't a podcast about the medals.
It's about the stories people don't expect, the ones that don't make the highlight reels.
This is Optical Delusion, telling the stories that we didn't see coming, but you probably didn't either.
Each episode, we're sitting down with Paralympic athletes and people with disabilities to talk honestly about identity, sport, failure, success, and everything in between.
No inspirational cliches and no watered down narratives.
Just real stories told by the people who live them.
So before getting into the episode, everyone, don't forget we have merch and gear out. This is something OC and I really wanted, and we're excited to share it with you guys as well. So if you want your own little cozy sweatshirt, Etsy shop should either be linked somewhere, and if you can't find it, it's in our Instagram bio.
Hello, everyone. Get excited for today's episode because it's going to bring some slightly different perspectives to the table. While not a Paralympic athlete, Paul has had a slew of his own experiences as a blind person navigating being an author and creative alongside his partner, Matthew, who has also joined him in his journey of disability advocacy. Here is Paul and Matthew.
Oh my gosh, yay!
Hi.
Welcome, guys.
Yes,
Thank
we're so
you.
glad to
Thank
have
you for
you.
having us. We're so
Thank you for
excited to be
joining us.
here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to hear that. Me and OC literally, when we were making this podcast, I have to be so honest, we made a list of like, like the JoJo Siwa meme that's like dream guest on my podcast.
Yes, I do
So
know
you
that meme.
we made a list and you guys were on our list. So we are just very
Oh,
thrilled. Very thrilled to
wow.
have you guys here today. And for our audience and our viewers who maybe don't know who you are, would you guys mind giving like, I always call them like little spark talk blurbs about who each of you are? And Paul, if you want to go into your disability just a little bit, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so my name's Matthew Castle. I'm married to Paul Castle here. We are both content creators. I am a classical violinist and I share a little bit of my music online, and Paul is.
An author and illustrator of children's books, something I honestly could not do without Matthew's incredible support and love. It is a career that sort of bloomed while during our time together. We met 10 years ago, and at that time, I had already lost most of my vision to retinitis pigmentosa, a degenerative genetic, it's such a mouthful, progressive
Right?
degenerative genetic eye disease slash condition with no
Hmm.
treatment or cure. I was diagnosed at the age of 16, and I've just been slowly losing my vision all my whole life. But due to our teamwork, I think I've managed to do things I never dreamed I could do, and here we are getting to share it with the world.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's so awesome.
That's amazing. And you said 16. OC actually can really
Yeah, I
relate to
started
that.
I did. I started losing. I was born fully sighted, had no idea actually that I would end up going blind until one day when I was 16 years old. I just started losing my vision. So I can
Wow.
relate on the 16 years old kind of thing.
Yeah. It's a crazy time to have that happen, I think. I mean, any
Yes.
time is, but like you're right smack in the middle of your teen years, you're in high school, everybody around you is learning to drive a car
Yeah.
and
I had
life
actually already
changing.
started driving. I was
Oh,
already driving
wow.
because I'm from Arkansas and
Okay.
you can get like a license at 15. So I did
Yeah.
that at 15, had been driving for a year, and then all of a sudden, nope, not
Wow.
anymore. Yeah. So it
Was that
definitely isn't.
was was that in particular really hard for you, losing the ability to drive?
Yeah, honestly, I think it was probably one of the hardest things
Yeah.
about it because you, if I hadn't known that freedom, I think it would have been much easier because
Yeah.
once you're able to just go wherever you want to go, whenever you want to
Mhm.
do it, it's like
Mhm.
it's so free, especially at, 15,
Oh,
16
of
years old.
course.
So then just all of a sudden not having that, I was definitely very
Oh,
angry.
that's so
And
earth-shattering. See, for
yeah,
me, my diagnosis actually came from my first couple driving lessons. That's when it became so
oh,
Oh,
clear that something was wrong because I nearly got into this accident by merging into a lane with a car, and I obviously didn't see it there. But I'd only been just behind the wheel a couple of times, and then it just
Mm,
ended. And I'll be honest, for me, so I never experienced the freedom that you talk about.
yeah,
I was afraid to drive, and when they told me that I couldn't drive, I was secretly a little bit relieved.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
But what you say is so true because I've often in my life, having never been able to just jump in a car and go somewhere, I do feel that envy. What would that be like? Oh, that must be so, freeing. And of course, now I think about that when people just go for jogs on the street or jump on a bicycle, even, because I've lost the
Mhm.
ability to do all of those things now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really OC and I were talking about bicycles a few episodes back, and, she was talking about how she ran into cars, so she is no
Yeah.
longer allowed on a bicycle. But also
Yeah.
it is really interesting because 'cause I'm kind of also coming from where you are coming from. I was born with a genetic condition, so I've never had sight. And
Okay.
neither has my sister. We both have something called brittle cornea syndrome, and when
Okay.
she was in 2nd grade, her cornea's ruptured, she had transplants, so now she can see, but it was,
Oh,
like, a little
wow.
nerve-wracking for her to go from not being able to see to now she can see,
Yeah.
and she just got her driver's license,
Wow.
this past month, and she drove me around. Never have I felt so much joy. I was like, "Wow, the 2 of us have never had this independence and freedom."
Oh.
So it's just like having that, I was like, "You know
Oh.
what? That's enough for me at this point."
Yeah. Wow. That is so
Right?
special. That's such a
It
beautiful story.
My mom was, like,
Cool.
sobbing watching my
Yeah.
sister pull out of the driveway. I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay.
Yeah.
Okay."
Alright.
But it is so sweet, and I think, obviously talking about a disability, first of all, I just love being able to talk to other people with vision impairments and relate because it's just something so special that, OC and I,
Mhm.
both joined the Paralympic movement kind of like later teens, early 20s, and we didn't
Yeah.
realize that we were missing those connections. And then for you, you started, posting on social media. Obviously,
Mhm.
you want to be known more as a creative from what I've seen. But
Mhm.
how has having like your social media page and having this following change not only your perception of your disability, but perception of like vision
Mm.
impairment in general?
Before Paul answers that, I just wanna say this last weekend, we were in Chicago,
Oh, yeah.
and some people came up to say hi, and
Mhm.
he on the flight back, Paul said, "Did you hear? Did you hear both of those people who came up to me said, 'Are you the author of the
Right.
book?'"
Yeah.
And
Oh
that
my
means
gosh.
so much to Paul when he
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
identified as an author.
Yeah.
Oh my
Thank you for
gosh.
pointing that out.
Oh my
That's a
gosh.
huge
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so special. My girlfriend
Mhm.
actually is a 3rd grade teacher, and she's like, "I wanna get pen grooms in my school," but
Oh, really?
whether or not that's allowed in Ohio, unsure, unfortunately.
I
But then
know we had
also
a couple weeks ago, my Pengrooms was read at a little drag time story hour at a cafe in
Uh-huh.
Ohio in
Yeah.
Westchester.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
Oh.
it was protested, unfortunately,
Oh,
and
Ah.
there was some negative pushback, but there was a lot of community support too, so there's both
good, good.
sides. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Small
good.
steps forward.
Yes,
Small
literally
steps,
small
baby
steps.
steps.
But there's still steps, there's still steps. And then
Sure.
just the other thing I was gonna say is that I'm living in Chicago right now, and I saw that you guys were here, and I was like,
You are?
"No!" I moved
We
here for the
missed
public I know. I wanted the public transportation to have, like, some independence, which has been really nice. I digress. Anyways, continue
well,
on.
well, I have to say we loved Chicago. It's a fantastic
It's
place, and it's very
gorgeous.
Mhm.
fun to get around. It was easy to get
Mhm.
around. We had a
Yeah.
blast. But to answer your question about my
Yes.
perception, it's such a great question. I've never been asked this question before because, of course, being on social media, being an advocate for the community, which, I didn't set out to do, it just sort of happened
Right.
organically. And getting to connect with so many other people with the disability, just to your point,
Mhm.
anybody with disabilities, but other low vision and blind people, it's so incredibly important to have community. When you get a diagnosis like ours, often the first thing you feel is incredibly lonely because
Mhm.
you're kind of don't have any, it's so rare, right? It's not common. So you don't have many people to relate to. So when you find your community, you find your people and you can trade those stories, it's so empowering. So I've discovered, you know, early on, shortly after my diagnosis, and I went to college in Northern California, I went to a Lighthouse for the Blind meeting. It was the first time I was around other blind people. And when it came time to share my story, it was the first time I actually broke down and cried. You know, when I was diagnosed, I didn't shed a tear. I was like, Mr. Strong, I'm just going to take this on. And everybody was like, wow, Paul, you're so strong. We're so impressed. And I was like, okay, this is good. I'm going to be like this attitude of like, I've got this. I'm Mr. Positivity. But when I
Right.
was around other people who could understand me and I heard their stories and I shared my story, I opened up like a dam was opened and it just like broke
I
free.
can imagine. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it was healing and cathartic to be able to feel those feelings. But I realized it wasn't until I was in the safety of people who could understand me that I was able to truly feel it. And
Yeah.
to your point, to the question, original question there,
Mhm.
I feel that being on social media and getting to talk about our experiences and getting the feedback, so much positive feedback, and getting to share the stories with people has really just maybe made me feel more proud than ever to have the disability. Whereas, you
Mhm.
know, it's a difficult thing to be diagnosed, obviously, it's a life-changing thing, but I think the process of being able to share online and meet other people and build this community has made me feel really proud to be blind.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. I feel a lot of that because when I came to college, I had this whole plan. So I went to college in Iowa, so quite a ways from home. So no one really knew me. And I was like, I am not gonna tell a soul that I'm blind. Like I don't know how I was gonna do that, but I had this whole plan that I was just gonna be like, yep, I'm gonna live life. No one's gonna know that I'm blind. And at this point, I hadn't had any like orientation and mobility training. I didn't have any accommodations because actually for a whole year and a half I was told I was going to get my vision back. So we
Oh,
didn't really
wow.
take any steps to get the accommodations I needed
Yeah.
because I was like, oh well, I'm going to get it back. I don't need to do that. But then I like I came to Iowa to swim, or the University of Northern Iowa to swim, and we had like an orientation before we got on campus. And I
Mm.
just remember before I had learned to like use different magnifiers and things like that. We all went out to go get ice cream, and I was just standing there, and I was like, "Oh gosh, I have no idea
Yeah.
what I'm gonna order." And so I was like sitting there, I was like, "Do I just say I'm not hungry and not order, or do I like ask someone to read me the menu as if I'm illiterate?" And so then I just like kind of leaned to my
As if that's better, right? I can't
I
read.
I know. I was
I
like,
just never
"Well,"
learned.
I was like, "What do I do in this situation?" So I just kind of leaned to like my new teammate who I'd met like, 5 hours ago. I was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, can you read me the board? I can't quite see it."
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
then I finally was like, maybe I should at least tell some people. And then
Yeah.
it all kind of snowballed and I started para swimming, which is like, and now I'm,
Incredible.
really
You bring
online
up
with it all.
I hope you didn't
But
ask for us any samples of the ice cream because there's nothing more that terrifying than when they're trying to hand you that tiny
and you
spoon.
grab the ice cream
Yeah.
side. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely done that before.
I
But
Oh
I
gosh.
tiny spoons or, like, handing people cards when you're, like, checking in and I have to give my student ID at the rec or, like,
Uh-huh.
food don't even get me started on food buffet
Don't.
lines. Uh-uh.
Oh no. Oh no, it's
oh
so
yeah.
hard. Thank God I have Matthew to do that now. He'll
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair.
No, that
Grace and
sounds
I just
about
go
right.
at it together.
Yeah, we just
Mhm.
everyone's like, "They're fine," and we're just, like, tripping over everything. The amount of videos I have of Olivia tripping over chairs, it's too
They're
much
just
for
in the way.
They're just in the way. Oh my gosh.
They're
Well, I love your answer and I love how empowering it is. And I think like we can both relate to like having that community and being able to feel like secure and like the
Mhm.
relatability. And it's like when people say representation is so important or community is so important, like I think we all have that moment in our lives where it like really just sets in and we're like, wow, that is like the truest words I
Yeah.
have ever heard. And then it kind of like, I mean, at least for us, it's become a passion to like keep that going and continue that message. So I loved your answer to that. That was beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
All
Yeah.
right, so on to our next question. I'm just kind of like curious. So I first found y'all. So I actually have a guide dog from Guide Dogs to the Blind too. Uh,
Oh,
I
yay.
know her name's Mahi. Let's see if I can get her up here. Mahi, come here. Mahi.
Oh.
Okay, nope. I think she's sleeping.
Okay.
But
Mr. Maple's sleeping right now too.
yeah, she's
Oh.
she's a yellow lab also.
Oh.
She's like 50 pounds. She's pretty small.
Oh, she's
But
tiny.
tiny little girl. But when I was, like, first deciding, like, if a guide dog was, like, the right route for me, I was, like, looking online for people who had guide dogs. And that's kinda how I first came across y'all's page. So I just was
Wow.
kinda wondering, like, how y'all started it and, like, what was your first video that blew up and if y'all, like, started it together, just kinda
Yeah,
things like that.
we did start together.
Yeah, we started our social media platforms during the pandemic
Oh,
because
okay.
Mhm.
it was something we could both do from home. As a violinist, I couldn't really do concerts anymore. No one was going to concerts, and at that time, Paul was selling his art primarily through like little art galleries and
Cafes,
cafes,
restaurants, and
and
stuff.
of
Oh
course,
my
no one was
gosh.
going there. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
social media was something we were like, we can do this. We can do this from our living room. Let's start. So we did, and
Yeah, we
our
joined forces. Yeah.
yeah, we kinda joined forces, and I mean, the early days, we were doing lip syncs and dances and really embarrassing stuff that's, like, gone now,
Mhm.
and but our first video that really, really kind of took off in a very special way was what
Well, I would say that was, I mean, a few years in, it was a couple years in, it was late 2022. Matthew and I were, we're always like, this whole social media thing's taking off. We had some of our first brand deals. It was really helping us get through the pandemic.
Mhm.
And Matthew said, we talked about my blindness, but not a lot, and not really talking explicitly about how we are an interabled couple and how that affects our relationship day to day. And we're like, well,
Mhm.
we're kind of missing the plot here because this is really an
Yeah.
important part of what we have. It's very unique. And Matthew started a video off, holding the camera to speaking directly into the camera and said, "My husband is blind, and these are some things I do around the house to help him out." It was as simple as that. And he pointed out three
Yeah.
really simple things, such as always making sure the dishwasher door is closed. Because I think we've
Mhm.
probably all flown over some of those doors.
Yes.
Um, Tucking in chairs,
yeah.
placing your glass in a place where I'm not gonna knock it off the counter. The
Mhm.
and that video blew up. Like, we're talking, I think overnight, 5, 6, 7 million views. And we were like,
Wow.
Wow.
whoa, people are really resonating with this. And so
Yeah.
Matthew continued to share from his
Mhm.
perspective the things he
Mhm.
does to accommodate. And that grew into the things I do and the way that we operate together. We always saw ourselves as like any couple because every pair of people have strengths and weaknesses, but because I have a disability, it was sort of like an amplified example of how you show up for your partner. And it wasn't just Matthew
Yeah.
showing up for me, it was the other way around too. And that's where
Mhm.
it really
Right.
took off. That's where it really took off. And we
Oh,
leaned in. Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
I would too.
As you should, because I feel like also, like, not only as an interable couple, but, like, as a queer couple, like, that is such a
Yeah.
unique niche, but also one that, like, there's no one else out there. Like, people don't have
Yeah.
anyone to relate to or learn from, and you were talking about your very first video, and, like, I feel like I was remembering now, like, having seen that video and, like, even before, we started this podcast, like, my girlfriend would send videos you guys would post and be like, "This is gonna be us." And it's just like
Oh.
right? But it's like having
Yeah.
that representation is just so important. And I think we also had a question here about like, this is a podcast kind of more centered around Paralympic athletes, but as Paralympic athletes, we know the importance of like having that team connection and supporting
Mhm.
each other on and off the field of play. Like, how
Mhm.
have you guys, like, both used your relationship to, like, not only support each other and support your growth in, like, a professional field, but also just, like, in your personal lives? Like, what is this dynamic like? Because I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to how we support each other, it's really no different than any other couple. Like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
I am there to support Paul's dreams, whatever those are. I'm like, what is it you want to accomplish? What are your big dreams? What are your goals? And he's never shy about telling me what those are. And then, and then I'm there. I'm like, yes, let's make this happen. What do we need to do? Let's follow the steps. And then he does the same for me.
Mhm.
He's like,
Mhm.
what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your music? Okay, let's pursue that. Let's make that
Yeah.
happen. And then I just did a Kickstarter for a new album that'll be coming out, and Paul
Okay.
is like super supportive and a big reason why it was so successful. So, yeah,
Mhm.
it's really cool. Like, I don't know, I don't even think of our
Mhm.
disability when it comes or any disability
No,
when it comes to that. We
Yeah,
just
same.
support each other's dreams.
exactly.
I
We
really
want each other to be happy and fulfilled and
Mhm. I see us as this I mean, we came into each other's lives at the right time. I'm a
Mhm.
dreamer. I'm an impractical dreamer.
I
Matthew
love it.
is very rational. I call him Mr.
Mhm.
Spreadsheets, but he's a
Ah,
doer. He's a
yeah,
doer. So I'm a dreamer, and every dreamer needs to find a doer, in my
Mhm.
opinion,
exactly.
because I have all the ideas, but I don't really know how to build out the steps. And
Mhm.
Matthew is all about the steps. If you saw his
Yes.
calendar, if you saw how he arranges his life, you would understand.
The
And
type A
I
to your type B.
exactly. And that's funny you say
Mhm.
that because we did some videos early on about type A versus type B, and that was before we introduced our current style of content. Because it's so
Mhm.
true about us. But I mean, I see us that's why I see us like any other couple. And really, just
Mhm.
if we have those unique strengths, and it just so happens I'm blind, and that's just part of our
Yeah.
dynamic too. But
Mhm.
Matthew has, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, made my dreams possible, because he
Mhm.
believed in me too and was like, "Okay, you have this dream of illustrating children's books." It just so happened I had had to stop painting because I couldn't traditional painting, I couldn't see
Mhm.
anymore, and Matthew was doing
Mhm.
everything possible, getting more light on the canvas. He was buying these huge lights to shine on my canvas and doing
Yeah.
everything, and it just I said to Matthew one day, I was like, "I'm just not enjoying it anymore. I just can't see enough. It hurts my eyes." And that is when the iPad, it really, um, came to I mean, like, tablets, real the technology was so good, and Matthew had
Mhm.
seen somebody using one and said, "We need to get you one of these," and so my aunt and uncle actually were the ones to buy it for me because we couldn't afford anything like that at the time, but it
Yeah.
was a life-changing gift, and then that's when Matthew just really encouraged me to explore illustrating through the tablet, and then we got
Mhm.
married that same year, and that's how my first characters, Pringle and Finn, the pengrooms, came to be because
Penguins.
I drew them on our wedding invitations. I kinda created them for our wedding
Oh.
invitations.
because well, and
Mhm.
that's because Paul wanted our photos on our invitations. I was like, "Absolutely not. There's no way. I don't want another picture of myself sent out to anyone."
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
that's
but I
funny.
didn't say that. That's what I thought.
You
But
said that. You absolutely said that.
what I said out loud was like, "Oh, it would be cuter if you illustrated
That's
us as
true.
characters."
That's true.
Which was just a clever way to get out of a photo.
And
Oh
so
my
I did,
gosh.
and I drew the
That's funny.
penguins because I thought, well, they're in little tuxedos, and I put the rainbow bow ties on them. I jokingly called them the penguins, and it really became a thing. And then we got married in December of 2019. So right after that, the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and we started our social media, like we said. And then Matthew
Mhm.
encouraged me to use the time to write a story. And I said, well, what would it be? And he said, well, obviously, the penguins. And so we called them Pringle and Finn, and I wrote my first book. And the book is about two penguins who deliver wedding cakes together, but it is about their teamwork. The whole thing, the
Yeah.
repeated line is, um, everyone agreed they made a great team. And this happens over and over again until the final pages where they themselves get married at the end. And another really important theme of the book, there's not a blind character, not the penguin.
Mhm.
My penguin character isn't visually impaired, but they make a lot of mistakes. They're imperfect, and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because they make a great team, and in the end, they come out on top. And I really wanted to emphasize that because it was my representation of our relationship, and it's since become our most popular thing, that we've created.
Yeah.
And like Matthew said,
Oh
we
my
were just in
gosh.
Chicago, and somebody walked up
I
to me
was
and said,
gonna
"Hey, you're the
say,
author of Pringle and Finn." Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like,
like,
"Wow."
now people are recognizing you literally at the bean. Like,
Yeah.
you're at the
Yep.
bean and you're getting recognized.
Yep. Yep.
Wow, that is so
I
cool.
yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh. What a
Okay, I've never really been in a relationship, but I love how y'all just say it's like a normal relationship because I feel like society often will think that being in a relationship with someone who's disabled is more of a burden or something like
Right.
that. But
Yeah.
when you think about it, everyone has their own like specific needs that they're gonna
Mhm.
like want from their
Mhm.
significant other. And ours just happen to be like different. And you know what
Ah,
I mean? Like I feel like
yeah.
everyone is gonna have like their partner's gonna have to step up for them in some way, and ours is just seeing for us. And I feel like it's no different than an able-bodied relationship
Oh my
stepping
God.
up in like some other
You
way.
are nailing it. You are nailing it. That is exactly it. 100%. I'm like nodding vigorously over here. You can't see
Oh
me.
my gosh.
Because I'm like
I
Yeah.
thinking about it with my friend, like my relationship with my friends, and oftentimes they're like, "Yeah, we forget that you're
Yeah.
visually impaired." Like
Yeah.
mhm,
now it's so like routine and normal that Olivia's gonna need a ride here, that
Yeah.
it's just not even like a second thought in their mind that I'm blind.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I sometimes I forget I'm blind and then sometimes I don't. But that it just depends on the day. And I think going on talking about people, maybe stepping in and being our eyes for us every now and then. I think this is a perfect time to talk about Mr. Maple and the
Mhm.
upcoming retirement of everyone's favorite
Yes.
Oh,
guide dog.
I know. I
Well,
know.
second
Oh,
favorite.
second favorite.
Yeah.
Mahi Mahi has to
I'm
be the
sorry.
first favorite.
Of
Currently,
For
we're
course.
gonna be
me, at
roommates
least.
next week.
Yes.
We get a reunion, so we're very excited. But
No.
yeah, Mr. Maple, he retires at the end of this year, correct?
Yeah, I mean that's the project, with GDB, I'm on the wait list and I have been
Mhm.
since the beginning of the year. So,
Mm-hmm.
you never know. That's the kind of the
Yeah.
exciting part. They could call me tomorrow. I have no idea. Now, it's more
Yeah.
likely it'll be closer to the end of the year though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a similar story for me because Mahi's my first guide dog,
Mhm.
and I had been on. So I'm a fast walker, and so like
Yeah.
that put me more on a wait list.
Yeah.
And I was actually in Manchester at Worlds, and I got a call, and they're like, "Hey, can you come in next week? We have a dog for you." And I was like,
Yep. Yep.
"I mean, I can." So I flew from Manchester after Worlds, like pretty much straight to guide dogs, and then got Mahi.
Wow.
It was insane. I was like, "Whoa!" You get like a week heads up
Oh,
sometimes.
that's true.
Like,
That's
"Oh,
all
we're
I
ready for
had.
you."
So
He is quick
But
with it.
I'm just curious what, like, Mr. Maple's, like, quirks are. I mean, we've seen them in some videos, but they all
Mhm.
have their own personalities, and
Yeah.
especially when the harness comes off.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, he loves to sleep. That's his favorite thing in the world.
So is
In the
Mahi.
sun,
He
if he
loves to
can
Mm.
nap.
sleep in
Ooh,
the
sunbather.
sun, yeah, that's his happy place. He's only naughty when a new person comes to the door. It is his kryptonite. He is so excited. We have to make sure that he has a bone in his mouth when people come through the door. Just
Aw.
because that helps to contain the
Gotta
excitement. He can put all that
regulate.
excitement right into that bone. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh. It's true, and he gets so excited because he loves meeting people. It's his favorite thing in the whole world is a new person and greeting people at the door, and his tail's going so fast, a mile a minute,
Oh.
and
That's
he
so
just does
cute.
zoomies, and
Oh.
he's just so excited and happy out
He's
of his
just a
harness.
baby.
Yes.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
really is. Yeah.
Oh.
It's funny. He hates walks. He hates the car. There's like nothing that he gets
Wait
excited
a
for.
So
second,
his
he
whole
doesn't.
job.
No, 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 no. Well, not guiding. He enjoys guiding. It's just like a
Yeah.
regular
Like a
walk.
regular walk, he's like,
Oh,
Oh.
"Why?
oh,
Why are
okay.
we doing this? This is so pointless."
But when he's
Oh
got the
my.
harness on, he really is so focused.
Yeah.
He's another dog.
Mhm.
He's a completely different dog.
Mm.
He loves his job. He's so smart. His memory is absolutely incredible. We can go to
It's
somewhere
crazy.
just one time in the city, and he just knows. We go there a second time, he'll immediately pick up. He'll be like, "Oh, I know where we're going." He'll stop at the right turns. Look at me. Yep, yep, that you're correct, and he'll take me right to the door to my barber. Like the second time we went.
Oh.
And he just knows routines. He's just
Mhm.
incredibly, incredibly intelligent. And he has
Too intelligent. He wants the exact same routine every single day, and we're like, we can't always.
well, he's always like asking me, and he's totally like asking, like, do you want to go here? We've been here before. And he's totally
Yeah.
ratted me out because I'll be with friends walking along and he'll like stop at the ice cream place. I'll be like, yeah, okay. We've been to this place
Yeah,
many
we've been
times.
here.
Oh my gosh.
Mahi's
I
And
very similar.
yeah.
And he also has a really funny quirk. Like, dogs, they don't necessarily have the same social boundaries that we do or understand social etiquette. And
Mhm.
sometimes he'll walk right between two people having a conversation with each other. But if there was enough room,
True. They
That's
should have been
why
fair.
closer.
not?
Oh, he also likes to play chicken with people. He likes the left side,
Right.
even though
So does
that's the
Mahi.
wrong that's going
Yes.
against traffic. And he'll like either try to pin people up against the wall or push them into the bushes.
Well, he
It's
doesn't push them, but they just get
He,
out of
like,
his
lifts up his
way.
paw and
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Mahi's the
That's
same way.
yeah.
She does he like belly rubs? Because Mahi, anytime she sees a person, she flops right over on her back,
Oh,
like no
really?
hesitation. None. And then she'll sit there for like 10 minutes
Oh my
just
gosh, that's
waiting.
so cute. That's actually not one of Maple's quirks. And I was ready
Mhm.
for him to love belly rubs, and he doesn't
No, not really.
really. He
No.
doesn't. He
Oh.
loves butt scratches.
Yeah, that's where it's at for him. That's where it's at for him.
He wants that
Yeah.
little rump scratched.
Yeah.
That's all he cares about. And he's such a snuggler, such a cuddler. He
Oh.
Oh yeah.
always wants to be cuddled up and snuggled with us. I kind of wanted to talk about why he's retiring because Maple is only 7 years old, and
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
kind of early. I mean, he'll be closer to 8 by the time the transition happens, but guide dogs sometimes make it to 9 or 10 or even later before they retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
but Mr. Maple has been showing signs of just slowing down. And this has been going on for a couple of years. And I did
Mhm.
call GDB because they have an amazing resource of trainers and people ready to talk to you through any issue you have. They're just such an incredibly supportive organization, and I absolutely love them. I hope that's been your experience too, Olivia.
Oh, it's been incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And they flew out, well, I guess my field manager drove out here and twice to work on his speed, and we used all the tricks in the book and kind of got his speed up a little, but then he would really pretty quickly go back to the speed he wanted to be, which was significantly slower than he was when we first got him. And so I
Mhm.
eventually realized, he's not making any mistakes. He still enjoys it.
Mhm.
A little, like, he's kinda over it after a shorter and shorter period. So I started to just notice because a lot of people are like, "How do you know how do they tell you? How do you know when to retire a
Yeah.
guide dog?" You're really gelled with them. You're so gelled into their
Mhm.
emotions and what they want, and that's why I didn't wanna put any more pressure on his speed after having the 2 trainers come out, because in my heart, I could tell Maple doesn't wanna go faster. This is his speed. This is how
Mhm.
he wants to guide me. And I really respect that, and I don't wanna make him uncomfortable. So I've
Yeah.
adjusted to that, but I've also talked to the trainers and said, like, "Listen, I'm a fast walker like you, OC, and
Yeah.
I wanna get to my appointments quickly, and I'm always I'm in a hurry."
Mhm.
And Maple makes me slow down and smell the roses a little bit more, which is fine, you know? But it's
Yeah.
not really ideal, and so I did talk to them, and they said, "Well, this is a little early for retiring, but certainly not unheard of, and it could
Mhm.
be that he's ready to retire." And so I sat with that for a while. I said, "Okay, let me think about that," and months went by, and I was just feeling it out with Maple, and I finally realized, yeah, I think he would just be happier, to be honest, if he got to just chill and nap and greet people at the door and do zoomies and
Oh.
sniff at the park and just be a dog. I think he's ready. I know he'll miss
Mhm.
the guiding because he is good
Mhm.
at it, but I think he's ready to say goodbye to it, and that's how I arrived at the
Yeah.
very difficult decision.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can
it's
imagine.
hard because you gotta keep
Mhm.
the dog in mind first. Like, a lot of times they are your, like, mobility aid, but then you have
Mhm.
to remember, "Oh, Mahi's a dog." And
Yeah,
I'm, like, thinking I saw Mr. Mabel retiring, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, the day Mahi retires, like,
yeah.
I'm gonna be so sad." But
How
I
long
know
have you
it'll be
had
the best.
Mahi?
It'll be 3 years
Okay.
in August. So she's
Yeah.
4 right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you just
But
never
a
know.
little
And
bit, yep.
it's not like a one day it happens. It's just like over time you'll get a
Mhm.
sense of it. And like you said, they're not robots. They're not machines.
No.
They're dogs and they make little errors here and there and they're small. They're not big deal,
Yeah.
but
They hurt in the moment, but they're
I
small.
one time he took a pretty sharp turn and didn't leave quite enough space for me in a big cement
Bench.
like a bench that
Yeah.
was built into the
No.
Yeah.
and it got me in the shin. That smarted,
Yeah.
but I did the whole thing, even though I was literally bleeding because I had a little gash on my shin. I backed him up. I was like, "Okay,
Rework?
we're gonna
Yep.
rework the," because that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he's
I know
never made
every
that
now
mistake since. So.
we're taking some major steps because she's going to Germany with me next week.
Oh,
And
Mhm.
wow.
she does not like to go to the bathroom. Like,
Yeah.
so what you have to do when you have these long flights is, I
Yeah.
don't know if Maple's gone on a really long flight, but
No.
you have to
No.
say how you're going to take them to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I would lay down like one of those pee pads
Yep.
in the bathroom and on the plane, but
Yeah.
she thinks it's a bed, I guess.
Oh,
Like,
she
she just
lays
lays down
down.
on it. And no matter how many times I tell her to do her business,
Yeah.
nothing. She just
Yeah.
lays down. And so I couldn't get her to go. And so I've been working for weeks now. And I finally figured out if I cut out a little turf square and laid that over the pee pad, she now
Oh.
goes. So we've been
Oh,
practicing.
good.
I know in my apartment I have like a little small, like almost airplane sized bathroom. So every morning we go in, I lay down her little turf in the pee pad and we go on it there and
Oh
then I
my
like
goodness, that's
leaderboard her.
brilliant.
So
I know.
smart.
So
Thank
hopefully
you
this
for
goes better.
sharing that. It's the
Yeah, no
reason we
problem.
haven't taken him overseas because I could never get him to
Mm.
go on the pee pad.
Yes,
And
that
I
I
know the
couldn't either.
protocol.
Well, pivoting a little bit from the guide dogs. I love the guide dogs. I'm actually considering getting one of my own, but that is a
Oh,
completely different
good.
conversation. Um, Going back to social media a bit, I am obsessed with the pranks that are pulled. I think they're
Yes.
hilarious. Matthew, how do you come up with these pranks that you pull on Paul?
Well, I grew up in a pranking family, so I
Mhm.
was trained from birth. Everyone got pranked. On your
Everyone got
birthday,
pranked.
everyone ganged up to prank you. So it was just kind of the atmosphere that I grew up in, is like you
Mhm.
pranked the people that you loved.
And there
So
were wholesome pranks mostly.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah.
There was a bucket of water
There's
over
a
a
bucket of
door.
water, a door, or your shoes were
That's not
filled with
that.
shaving
Oh, you
cream.
better never do that to me.
Or yeah. Or my brother once got a mint ice cream cake,
For his birthday.
for his
Mhm.
birthday, but he didn't realize that his slice we had replaced with frozen avocado. So,
Oh,
um, but it looked mint green to
Oh, that's
him. So
crazy.
yeah,
And he ate
he
it,
ate it.
thinking this is the worst mint ice cream cake, but I'm
Yes,
going to be
He didn't say
gracious.
anything?
yes. No, he didn't say
Wow.
anything. It was so,
Meanwhile, the other family members are all enjoying real mint ice cream.
yeah.
right. Okay, so the pranking just comes naturally.
It
Like,
comes
it's just like
naturally.
Yeah.
second nature. Okay,
It's
because
second
I was
nature. If I
amazing.
love someone, I'm going to
Exactly.
prank them.
Yeah. I
But
love it. I
some of
do.
the rules that I grew up with were like, you
Mhm.
don't embarrass anybody. A prank should not. If someone's gonna get embarrassed, it should be the prankster. So if I get embarrassed
Mm.
doing it,
Mhm.
that's okay. But do not embarrass the person, and don't damage things. You don't damage their clothing. Don't
Yeah.
damage objects. So that was kind of like the rule. And also like you only
Mhm.
pranked people that you like loved and knew. So you weren't pranking strangers. You were
Right.
Yeah.
pranking
Exactly.
people very close to you.
Like you tested me
Mm.
pretty early in a pretty
You
light
tested
way.
him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my
Perfect.
initiation. Maybe 3
The
weeks into
initiation.
dating.
Yeah, because you also
Gotcha.
need to make sure the person like laughs along with it.
Yeah.
If they're crying, then you
Exactly.
probably don't do anything.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
enough.
not.
Yeah,
Because I was telling people, I was like, yeah, like OC and I are interviewing Paul and Matthew. And they were like, wait, who's that? And I was like, the couple on TikTok who prank each other. And everyone was like, oh, like when he
Oh,
pretended to be like the entryway bench. And I'm like,
yeah.
exactly.
they're so
Exactly.
funny. They're so
I know,
funny.
we've become known for this. It's so funny because Matthew was pranking me, like I said, from the beginning of our relationship. We met 10 years ago, and it was only in 2023, so 3 years
Mhm.
ago, almost to the day, because it was early on. I think it was like March. I remember the first time you posted and filmed a prank, and it went viral. They went viral. And so the
Of
thing
course it
is, like,
did.
Matthew has definitely upped his pranking game since we
Mhm.
started sharing. They're a little more frequent and they're a little more creative. Like, I'm like very
Yeah.
impressed
Well,
with
people
some.
send me ideas because
Yeah.
like I was like
I bet.
I'm gonna need help coming up with more ideas.
I've seen some. I'm like, where in the world did you get that idea?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's so
thankfully we
funny.
have like millions of people
Yeah, we have millions of people who want to see
Who
Paul
wanna see it.
pranked, so they are supplying lots of ideas. Many of
I
them
love it.
not, many of them not possible, or would.
Mhm.
Oh, there's some crazy ones.
There's some crazy ones
Yeah.
that
Okay.
would just not work. Yeah, but
And
Switching
I
maple with a cat.
yeah,
oh,
Oh, interesting.
perfect.
I
I feel
I don't know
like
how that would work.
no, and I feel like also kind of pivoting again just a little bit, I feel with, like, your pranking, you're able to show more authentically, like, who you are as individuals and, like,
Mhm.
how you interact in a way that's, like, again, authentic to you because tying it again to, the Paralympic movement a little bit, I feel like a lot of the times we're met with, like, "Oh, you guys are so inspirational," instead of, "You're so
Mhm.
strong and fast and powerful and you're, like, really great athletes." It's like, "Oh, I'm glad my life isn't like that, so now I feel
Mhm,
a lot grateful for the position I'm in." Like,
Mhm.
how have you handled like, do you experience that? I think there was an
Mhm.
activist who coined it as, like, inspiration porn.
Right.
yeah.
Like, do you have those experiences, and how are you trying to navigate that right now?
This is a really good question. It's such a layered and nuanced and
It
challenging
is.
question
It is.
because, the people who are creating that inspiration porn, as you put it, they're not
Mhm.
doing it maliciously. They're doing it with love
mhm,
and they think they're highlighting something really important, which they are. But
Mhm.
it is, it can be somewhat detrimental or confusing for the disabled community to always be highlighted that way and spoken about in that way. And it
Mhm.
almost but I like to look at it as it's the opportunity that gets my foot in the door and be able to talk about the things that I think are important. So I don't resent it.
Yeah.
I just look at it as an opportunity to have the spotlight on the subjects that I want to be able to talk about. And if,
mhm.
people are discussing my book and they're like, wow, he can draw. Like, this is crazy. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it is getting attention on the things that I love and I'm passionate
Mhm.
about. So I will embrace that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on a similar topic, we were watching a TV show the other day that had a blind character. Of course, the blind character had superhuman powers.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we
Of
were
course.
discussing that again. Like, Paul was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
another blind character who, of course, has like superhuman powers." He's
Yeah.
like, "Is this
Mhm.
good or is this not good?" And so we had a whole
Yeah.
discussion about that
Yeah.
representation.
Right, that representation, it sort of after a while, it can get a little old because
It
I'm like,
can.
I'm a flawed person. I don't have
Mhm,
superhuman
Exactly.
abilities, and I'm always being represented in a positive way because obviously showing the blind character is like really cool and winning and never like making mistakes, but like obviously like these superhuman qualities or whatever. That's not a
Mhm.
quote negative thing, but it also puts us blind people or anybody with a disability in the position of being like, well, I'm not like that. That is not my
Right.
reality at
Right.
all.
yeah.
And so I feel
Mhm.
like people now expect that of me. And I feel like maybe
Yes.
deep down
Yes.
inside your inner voice is like, I'm not good enough or I'm not living up to this
Mhm.
portrayal in a way. And
Yeah.
I was like, I
No.
want a really
And
realistic portrayal for once.
yeah, and then on the other side of things, I started kind of again thinking through this as we were talking about like the pranking videos. Like, I feel like with those pranks, you're able to portray that like people with disabilities aren't fragile. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of people will be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're pranking a blind person."
Right.
Well, you would prank a fully sighted person, wouldn't
Yes.
you? So why can't you prank a blind
Yes.
person?
Mhm.
Like, I feel
100%.
like we're either seen as superhuman and able
Yeah.
to do anything, which is
Yeah.
great. Like, I like that positive light, and we are able to do a lot of things with the right accommodations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then on the other side, like, we're people think we're fragile and you can't, joke about in
Yeah.
a way that people are comfortable with,
Yeah.
in a polite way, joke about with
Yeah.
someone with a
Yeah.
disability and prank them.
Mhm.
And, like, I'm always one who uses humor to get through things, I feel
Mhm.
like. And
Mhm.
so if you know me on that level, you can joke about my blindness. But I feel like first off, you have to get to know the person and what they're
Yeah.
comfortable with.
Yeah.
But I just think, yeah, we're either seen as superhuman or fragile, and there's like no in
Mhm.
between. Like, we are just
Yeah.
people. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're just a person like you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like also with the superhuman narrative, a lot of Paralympic athletes also feel this way where, like, if we're not world champions, Paralympic medalists, world record holders, then it's like we don't feel like we've proved ourselves enough to be respected and valued and seen and like
Mm.
have a space where we feel normal. Like we feel like we have to meet the high standards of being superhuman because of the media, which is a whole nother interesting topic that I have become
Yeah.
passionate about exploring. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It is. It's so interesting. And yeah.
Yeah, along the lines of fragility or being
Mhm.
handled very fragilely. Sometimes I'll watch someone help Paul and see them handle him like he's a
Oh.
glass vase about to
Yes.
break. And I'm kind of laughing to myself because I'm like, I know they're actually making things harder on Paul by
Yeah.
trying to
Mhm.
overhelp
Yeah.
so much.
Exactly.
You
Yes.
know, they'll grab his cane thinking that like somehow
Yes,
that's
Oh,
that's
I hate
helping.
that. I
Yes.
hate it.
I've had while I was in orientation and mobility training. So
Uh-huh.
my O&M instructor was there with me. Someone got out of their car
Uh-huh.
while I was waiting to
Oh.
cross the street, grabbed my cane and
Oh.
like tried to drag me into the street.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
gosh.
luckily my orientation and mobility instructor stepped in then and was like, listen, I'm here to help her. That's not how you approach someone who's visually
Yeah.
impaired.
Yeah.
Like she can
Yeah.
handle this. She's capable. But it was just that instant, I was like, "What in the world is
Yeah.
happening? Like,
Yeah.
what do
Yeah.
I do with this?"
I've had that happen many, many times. And it's such an internal conversation I'm having with myself because on the one hand, I'm like so moved by the love of my strangers around me that they
Yes.
want to
Mhm.
help and that they would go out of their way. And I only want to express gratitude, thank
Yes.
you, because like they're doing something so kind, but I also have to set a little bit of a boundary. And it's such a
Mhm.
balance because you don't want to offend them, but you
Mhm.
Yeah.
also don't need this. I've had people start like giving Maple instructions, like, "Oh, turn here." Like they're like talking to Maple, and I've had to say, like, "Oh, he's
Um,
trained for this. He knows. It's okay.
Or you could talk to me.
You can
yeah.
talk to me." Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. Oh my
It's
gosh.
yeah, it's like,
But
I
how do you
they
go
mean
about
well. They mean well, and you
they
have
no,
to
do
they
mean
remember
do.
well,
that.
They do.
and
It
it
just
is so
always catches
kind.
you off guard. Someone's
Yeah.
gotten out of their car to help me cross the
Yeah.
crosswalk too, and I just
Yeah.
didn't even know what to do in this situation. I was like,
Oh, thank
who
you
are
so
you? Like,
much.
now I'm uncomfortable. Now
Yeah.
I was fine before, now I'm not. But I do appreciate it. Um,
Uh,
yeah. No, not great, not great. But I think one final question we kind of had was like, what's next for you guys? Like
Mm,
music, being an author, like what
mm.
is on the horizon?
Well, we have so much coming. We are always have the next project lined up. I mean, I have my next 6 children's books lined up, figured
oh,
out. I just have to
wow.
Wow.
make them. I'm also writing my first novel
Oh my gosh.
with a blind lead character.
Yes.
That is not totally like can see light, is like nuanced, is like, you
Mhm.
know, a
Mhm.
spectrum of blindness, you know, which or I
Amazing.
believe we need
Yes.
more of that representation. Matthew has more exciting music coming out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
new album,
Yes.
Amazing.
Simply Ghibli, is coming like within a few months. All the
Oh
music
my
from the
gosh.
Miyazaki movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you know,
exciting.
and and of course, we're gonna share all about the retirement of Mr. Maple, the transition for the second dog. We're gonna share everything going
Mhm.
on. I've just launched my own personal YouTube channel, Paul Castle
Oh, we did see
Studio.
I
that.
did see
Mhm.
that, yeah.
And that is simply because like Matthew and I have like a lot of followers on our YouTube channel, and we used to do
Mhm.
long form, but we just focus on short form together. And I told Matthew, I'm like, I have a lot to share. I have a lot to say. I'm just gonna start.
Yeah. Listen, there is
I have a
nothing
lot
wrong
to
with being a
say.
yapper.
I'm
We are
such a yapper.
yappers.
I'm a professional yapper.
Yeah.
I think we told you guys this interview would be like 45 minutes. It's going on an hour.
This could
Sorry.
go on. And so I was like, I
Yes.
need a space to do that. So Matthew's like, you need your own YouTube channel. I was like, great. I love this idea. Let's do it. So we're doing that. And so we're really planning moving forward. There's going to be a lot more content, I think, a lot more to share, and so many exciting creative projects coming down the pipeline, including animation is where I really want to start getting into the world of
Ooh. Oh
animation
my
and
gosh. I love
adapting
it.
my work into animated films one day. So we'll see how that goes.
If we get a
That would be so
Pengrooms
fun.
movie, I would please invite us to the red carpet. I think I would
Okay.
cry.
Promise. We promise.
What?
Well,
Oh, that would be so
that is
cool.
so cool and so exciting for both of you.
But
Sweet. So I think now we're going to start wrapping up the episode. But before we do, Matthew and Paul, OC has a question to ask both of you.
yes, what is a story from y'all's life that you did not see coming?
Okay, so we were talking about taking our guide dogs to the airport. Well, Mr. Maple was zooming along recently at the airport, and he's on a mission, right? He's totally on a mission, and
Mhm.
I could just hear from my right side a little kid scream out in excitement, "Puppy!" And I could hear his little feet running. And so I can't see him, but I can hear the whole thing. It's playing out in my mind like a movie. He comes
Oh.
running out, hits Mr. Maple with his body, bounces backwards off of Maple. Maple doesn't even flinch, has not skipped a beat. And then
Wow.
behind me, there was that classic pause and then wailing and crying. I was like, do I turn around? Do I go console him? I don't even know where he is. Where are his parents? And we were late for our flight. So I was like, nope, I just got to keep going.
Yeah. I wish you could see the shock on my face right now because I can't imagine that kid bouncing off of Mr. Maple.
Yeah, he was tiny.
Oh, there
I
was
hope
one
he was
time
okay. I think his
He
parents.
did
so
not
yeah.
have far to fall. He was like, you
True.
know,
Yeah, there was
He was practically on the ground already.
there was one time I was sitting in the airport and I was just doing whatever. Mahi was laying down, minding her own business, and I looked down and there's just a little kid with like a race car and he's just driving it up and down along Mahi's side. He's just laying, not like sleeping,
Oops.
not even bad at night. I was like, I'm just gonna let it happen. I
Okay,
was
yeah.
like, where are your parents? I don't know you or where your
Oh
parents
my
are or who
gosh.
you're with. But eventually the mom came over and she was like, mortified. She was like, I am so sorry. And they had like the whole conversation of that is a service dog, you don't
Yeah.
pet. I was like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
They know now, like learning,
They know now.
But
That's
Oh my
I
so
gosh.
definitely
funny.
little kids.
Matthew,
It's
what's
so
the story you didn't see coming?
that I'd be married to someone with a visual impairment. You know,
Yeah.
when I met Paul and I'd been dating him for a while, I called up my dad one day and I was like, so I met this
Mhm.
guy. This is what's going on. I don't know. Like, what should I do? I really like him. And my dad said his visual impairment should not be a reason to date him or not to date him. He said
Yeah.
you could
Mhm.
marry a fully able-bodied person and they get hit by a bus and he said, would you leave them then?
Right, because they were
Mhm.
in a
Yeah.
You know,
wheelchair or something.
because
Yeah.
they're in a wheelchair or if they're suddenly disabled, would that mean be
Right.
like, oh, sorry, this doesn't work, bye.
Right.
And of course,
Yeah.
the answer
Yeah.
was
That's a good
no. And he
point.
said, there's so much more important. You need to, spend a year together, get to know each other. And if you hit it off, if you love each other, if you gel, if
Mhm.
you complement each other, if the communication is good, if you guys know how to fight and know how to repair, he's like, that's what's
Yeah.
important, not
Exactly.
whether he has a disability or not. And that
Mhm.
was the one phone call that I needed. And I was like, okay, yep, we're
Yep.
gonna go for this.
I like that you
Uh,
share that story, Matthew, because I just want to say, like, it's a vulnerable thing to share because he's
mhm.
admitting
It
that
is.
there were questions at the beginning and concerns.
Yeah.
And I think
Mhm.
sometimes people see Matthew as like this perfect saint of a man. And I'm like, he's normal. And it would be normal to get into a relationship with a person with disability and have those questions. And I think that's,
Mhm.
um,
100%.
it's just like part of, I think, but I had questions too. I was like, this guy, has his own baggage. I'm like, well, what about,
Yeah.
I had a similar phone call, Matthew. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. No,
yeah.
that's so real. We all come with our own stuff. And Matthew, I think you and my girlfriend should start a little support group for people dating blind individuals.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could
Yeah.
have lots of relatable conversations.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
But
sure. I
yeah,
love
For
that you
I
sure.
say that. Talk about how someone could become disabled at any time because we always say like
exactly.
it's a community you could become a part of
Mm-hmm.
any minute,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
like that
Yep.
happened to me. And so it's just so fascinating to hear like you
Yeah.
would stay with a person if
Yeah.
they become disabled. So why is that stopping you from like dating them in the first place if they are
Yes.
disabled?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my
Really
case, I
interesting
knew what I was
perspective.
getting
And
into. I already knew. I was
yeah,
like,
there you
okay,
go.
no
Yes.
surprises here.
No.
Hey, my likelihood of getting hit by a bus is kind of high, actually.
I was gonna say, I honestly,
Yes.
I definitely crossed the crosswalk yesterday when I should not have and got honked at. So listen, happens to
Yeah.
the best of us.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have
Try
to
our
pray, run and pray. Okay. That cross parallel surge is not always there. And
Yeah.
that's,
No,
I digress.
great for a
But
while sometimes.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, this conversation has been wonderful. And it has been so
Mhm.
nice to get to know you guys on a personal level. Again, after OC and I have like just adored watching you guys and like seeing your growth and also being disability advocates. And we're so grateful you guys had the time and came on and to talk with us today.
Yes, it was so much fun.
Oh my gosh, Grace and Olivia, thank you so much. This was
Yeah.
so fun. I feel like we're already pals. I want to hang out with
Yeah.
you
Right?
guys. I hope we can one day.
No, I would
Mr.
Yes.
love
Maple would love
that.
to meet Mahi, I'm sure.
I'm sure
Oh,
she would love to too.
that's so
Yeah.
cute.
Jesse's
I
and
can't
Mecca.
imagine. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hi, dog
Thank you so
party.
much. This was such a
Yeah,
delightful conversation.
it was. It was. It's
Yes.
always nice to connect with people who like
Mhm.
get it to a
Mhm.
level, because it's people don't know unless they've been there sometimes.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's been wonderful. So thank you
it's
both so
healing. It's
much.
healing in many
It
ways. Thank you.
it is.
It
Like
is.
my cup right now is overflowing.
Yeah,
Like I'm
same.
like, great, I'm gonna go be the most productive I've ever been today now that I'm just like all this
Yes.
energy.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, perfect. So yes, thank you guys again so much. And thank you to everyone who tuned in, watching or listening. We appreciate you guys and we will see you next week for another story.
Yes.
Bye.
See y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.